Hi, in today's lesson we're going to be converting linear forms. Now, in order to convert linear forms, that means we're going to be going from point-slope form to slope-intercept form to standard form. So listed below are point-slope forms, slope-intercept form, and standard form. We've talked about the first two, and the first two with the point-slope form. See, here we go, point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And this is where you know the point and you know your slope. Now slope-intercept form we've also talked about, and that's y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and the b is your y-intercept. Now the new form that we're going to be looking at today is called standard form. It is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are capital letters, x and y are our variables, and then we have some requirements for the a, b, and c. A, b, and c are just integers. Well, they're just numbers sitting there. So here are the requirements. A, b, and c can't be fractions or decimals, and a, this leading coefficient, cannot be negative. Let's take a look at our first example. Example number 1, we are given a point and the slope. The directions want us to do three things. They want us to put it in point-slope form, they want us to put it in slope-intercept form, and then standard form. So we're going to be rearranging the equation 2 times once we put it into point-slope form. Okay, let's take a look at point-slope form. I have my point, I have my slope, so I can plug in to y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1, and I can plug my point in, so I'll have y I'll have the y plus 5 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 1. So this is my point-slope form. That was one of the forms I wanted. The second form I want is slope-intercept form. So to get slope-intercept form, remember that's y equals mx plus b. I have to get the y by itself. To get the y by itself, I need to get rid of these parentheses first. So I need to use some distributive property. So I have y plus 5 is equal to 4x plus 1. Okay, so I got rid of the parentheses. Now I notice my y right here that I want by itself has this plus 5 with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 5 from both sides, and I'm going to get y equals 4x minus 4, and now I have my slope-intercept form. The next form I want is that new form that we talked about, and that was standard form. Okay, to get to standard form is that ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, no fractions, no decimals, and the a needs to be positive. So when I look at this, notice how in standard form the x term is the first term on the left-hand side, then the y term equaling some number. So to get it into standard form, I need to move my x term over to the left-hand side. So I get this negative 4x plus y is equal to negative 4. Almost standard form, see I have my x, then I have the y equals some number, so the order is correct. The only problem is this negative 4 right here. So to fix that, all I want to do is get rid of a negative, so I multiply everything by negative 1, and I have 4x minus y equals 4. Now this is my equation of my line in standard form. Standard form is just the formal way to write an equation of a line. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so problem number 2, same type of problem. We're starting off with a point and the slope, so we're going to put it into point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So as I plug in my point, y minus 5 is equal to, plug in my slope, parenthesis x minus, and plug in my x coordinate. So here's my point slope form, the first form that I want to see in your paper. The second form I want to see is the slope-intercept form. So to do the slope-intercept form, that means I want y equals mx plus b. I want the y all by itself. So to get there, I need to do some distributing. So we have y minus 5 is equal to negative 2/3 parenthesis, whoopsie, I distribute negative 2/3 x plus, because a negative times a negative is a positive, 2/3 times 3 is 2. Okay, not quite slope-intercept form because I have to get rid of this minus 5. By adding 5, I need to get this y by itself. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7. Now I have my slope-intercept form. The last form that we want to put it in is standard form. And standard form is that ax plus by equals c. ax plus by is equal to c. That's standard form. Okay, to get it into standard form, I'm going to have to move my x term, because in standard form that x term is on the left-hand side. So I have this 2/3 x plus y is equal to, and those are gone, plus, which is just a 7 here. Now this looks like the order for standard form. It's got the x term first, then the y equaling some number. But the problem is with standard form you can't have any fractions. So to get rid of this fraction, I'm going to multiply every single piece by that denominator, which was a 3. So 3 times 2/3 knocks the 3's out, and I'm left with 2x. 3 times y is 3y, and 3 times that 7 is 21. So my standard form is going to look like 2x plus 3y equals 21. Okay, the last two examples were examples of when we had a point and the slope. Let's take a look at one when they don't give us all the information we need. For instance, in example number 3, we're given 2 points. So if we're given 2 points, we don't know the slope and we need to find it. Okay, so let's find the slope first. Okay, got to find the slope. And remember, to find the slope, we're going to use our slope formula. And to do that, I'm going to have 1 minus 4 over negative 1 minus 1. So I'm looking at negative 3 over negative 2, which is really just 3/2. So now that I know the slope and 2 points, I can go through and do my point slope form now. So I can do y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x1. And plug in, and we use my first point. Y minus 4 is equal to 3/2 times the quantity x minus 1. So I have my point slope form here. And now I want to rearrange that to standard form. Now standard form means I have to get the y by itself. It has to look like y equals mx plus b. So that means I got to do some distributing here. So I'm going to have y minus 4 is equal to 3/2 x minus 3/2. Okay, so we have some fractions. Now this y, to get it by itself, we're going to need to add 4 to both sides. It's going to give me y is equal to 3/2 x, and now we got to do negative 3/2 plus 4, which is 5/2. Now the last form that we want to put it in is standard form. So to get it in standard form, that ax plus by equals c, which means no fractions, no decimals, and a can't be negative. Well, let's see, I need to move the x term, so I'm going to subtract this minus 3/2 x, because for it to be in standard form, the x has to be on the left-hand side. So I have negative 3/2 x plus y is equal to 5/2. Now this form looks good because we have the x term first, then the y equaling some number. However, we have fractions. So what we're going to do to get rid of fractions and the negative that is on this x right here, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2. That's going to give me a 3x minus 2y is equal to a negative 5. And then I have my standard form. Okay, for this problem number 4, I want you to write it on your paper, and I want you to go through the same steps that I went through on that last problem, then turn the video back on and compare your answer. Okay, in this example, did you notice that the slope turned out to be a 0? So if the slope is 0, remember what happens in our equation. When I go to put it in point-slope form, I have this 0 out front. And so if I multiply by it, it just gives me a 0 on this side. And when I minus my 3, this y equals negative 3, this is going to be my slope-intercept form. And it's also going to work as standard form. Because since I don't have an x term anymore, I can leave it just like y equals negative 3. Right, part 2 of this video is going to pick up with this problem number 5, where we want to write the different forms of the equation, but we're going to start with an equation of a line. So be sure to watch the part 2.